The things you were saying yesterday was a complete sack of lies.
Did you smoke before you came in here? That's ridiculous.
By the way, Vinny, here's the part, though.
You're full of it, bro.
All right, everybody. We got an absolutely wild, off-the-rails clip here from the Patrick Bet David podcast. He has Sam Seder on as a guest. And this particular section here goes absolutely bonkers. So you have Sam Seder calling Patrick Bet David and his crew out on some misinformation they were spreading. And everybody just like completely loses it for a few minutes as Sam Seder is just trying to kind of explain like the situation. Anyway, let's jump into it. We might have some comments, but here we go.
I watched the video of you guys on the plane down of when Elon Musk was in Wisconsin blowing up his whole brand, essentially. And he was on stage with a guy named Garcia. Do you guys remember this video?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It was like 2 days ago.
Yes. The Social Security numbers spiking in the last 4 years.
The Social Security numbers.
2.2 million new non-citizen Social Security numbers. Yes.
And the amount of misinformation from every single person, all of you, was astonishing to me.
What was it? What was the misinformation?
I almost.
By the way, kudos for like going in there in this this environment. Not an easy environment. You're surrounded by four, far right, ostensibly right wing, center right people, and to just call them out straight to their face, like you guys were and are completely full of shit. Gotta love it.
Feel like we should go through the whole video.
This is coming from a socialist.
No.
The level of credibility you have as a socialist.
Yes,
progressive system that has never worked.
And then, first of all, like to instantly try to. So obviously he's hurt and he's in his fifi. He's already his feelings are hurt. Patrick Bet David, and he's like, well, you're a socialist. Why should we believe anything you say? Why should we trust your credibility? You're a socialist. Well, first of all, Sam Seder is not even a socialist. And number two, it's like, so what? He can't like have different opinions about economic policy. Like, anyway.
I want to hear
that is anti-oligarch.
But I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Go for it.
First off, you seem to not understand that these were not undocumented immigrants who were getting these Social Security numbers. They are non-citizens. Now, when you came to this country, you were an immigrant. Your parents came legally.
Right.
Every single one of those people who got those Social Security numbers are here legally. They're not citizens, just like you weren't when you first came to this country.
Yeah.
You get a green card. Your parents get a green card. They go through a process.
Yeah.
All of those people, and to understand, they got their Social Security card.
I really want to see your point.
Well, the point is, you referred to them as undocumented and illegal.
No,
you did.
I said non-citizen.
No, excuse me.
Don't say everyone here. I said non-citizen. Correct yourself.
I can't remember which one of you got it wrong. I think you did.
Just be specific.
You're thinking, but
we can play the video and go through it. But
I'm still trying to get to the point.
I just want to make. Well, the point is, they're not illegal. They're not undocumented. They're all legal.
Right.
The expansion from that program, the EBE program, which is enumeration beyond entry, was started under the Trump administration. The numbers have gone up. Because, yes, under Biden, as opposed to Trump, there was an expansion of people who were here probably, I'm not sure.
A lot of illegals.
Excuse me.
10 plus million.
Not a single one of them.
Breaking number of people.
Hold on, you're changing the subject now.
No, I'm not changing the subject.
I'm talking about that video.
Yeah.
And every one of those Social Security numbers that was handed out.
So how do you feel about the illegal immigrants that came those 4 years?
I will get to illegal.
You don't care about those people.
I will get to the undocumented.
You cared about children.
But you don't want to talk about this, and I don't blame you because it's embarrassing.
No. But let me do a quick time out.
Every one of those Social Security numbers.
Do a quick time out here. Sam, let me just do a quick time out. You said you don't want to talk about this. You just spun away from a question I asked you, and you brought this up. You haven't even addressed the question I asked you.
Let me finish. We'll get to the
point that
illegal
asked. Let's go back to what I asked you. I asked you a question that the money that's going in, Americans prove that they don't trust the government getting the money than free market, free enterprise.
I don't think that's the case.
You never addressed that.
I don't think that's the case. People love Social Security. People love Medicare.
Expenditure. What we learned with Doge. The American people said, Sam, enough of you taking our tax money and see what you're doing with it.
What we learned with Doge. By the way, with Doge, the stuff that Doge is cutting, this sham government organization, they're cutting like science and they're cutting aid for poor people. What they're cutting makes up fractions of the budget. for political points and for optics. The actual big ticket problems, or not problems, but programs, military, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, etc. They're not targeting, at least not ostensibly not now. They're planning on it, or they're trying to fit in the framing for how to figure out how to do that. They're working it into their budgets and trying to create a conversation around that. But what Doge is doing is literally just firing people, taking people's jobs away, and cutting food and aid for poor people in Africa. So good for them.
Elon Musk made that Wisconsin election of a referendum on Doge. To the extent that we've seen anybody vote on Doge, nobody heard the word Doge before November of last year. To the extent that we've seen a referendum on Doge, it just happened in Wisconsin. It happened in Florida, where the size of the win by those Republican congressmen was cut by 17, 20 points. I mean, this is a wipeout. And every Republican, you're going to see a difference in Republican lawmakers over the next year and a half, because anybody who was in a plus Trump 8 district or less is now starting to go like, wait a second. That's why Musk is being shown the door, supposedly. So getting back to my point about those Social Security numbers, they were given all to legal non-citizens. And every one of those cards, you can't vote, because I think you definitely said, and I think maybe you said, that this is a Democratic strategy to get voters. Hold on for a second. The Social Security card that they get literally says not legitimate for voting purposes. It is so that these non-citizens who are legal, just like when you came in, pay into the Social Security system and get, many of them never get that money back. So in addition to the undocumented immigrants who pay in $22 billion a year into Social Security and get zero back, these people pay several $billion in a year, and only if they become citizens, which most of them won't. Most of them will go back home over a period of time. They're here for temporary protected status. Maybe some of them are refugees and they get permanent citizenship. They won't get that money either. So every single thing of that video, this video here, was completely wrong that you guys did. It was fascinating to me, because I feel like you, at the very least, I believe that you care about the information you're putting out.
They don't.
And this was all wrong. And
so they're up there. So Sam, this is all a lie. These guys were up there just completely bullshitting with all the numbers. Where he's saying that people in the government are blowing the whistles. He didn't want to say their names. He was giving them praise. And for Sam, for you to say that you care about the kids and the labor and all that stuff. We've had an open border for 4 years, and all the illegals, way more than 10 million, have come into this country. California, is that where you live?
No.
Where do you live?
I live in New York.
Okay, great, even better. California. So the amount of money that we spent on illegals with housing and all that shit, and Gavin Newsom passing a law that you don't even need an ID to vote. You're saying that we're coming up with where these people aren't coming in for the votes? That's the main goal of this whole thing. What was the open border for? Why was the border open for 4 years? Answer me that question.
First of all, the border was not open.
Give me are you kidding me? Look at the... What do you mean the border wasn't open? Are you... Hold on. Did you smoke before you came in here? That's ridiculous.
By the way, Vinny, here's the part, though.
You're full of it, bro.
Here's the part. Sam, here's the part when I hear this, okay?
And let me interject. And I don't know if I should say this or not, but like, so Sam Seder's going to make his point. He's going to explain what he means by the border was not open. There's a part in communicating these ideas, or like the contrary point, when someone makes a point like that, say, the Democrats left the border open for 4 years or whatever, not to respond with like, well, the border wasn't open, because that immediately codes for the conservative or whoever sort of already made up their mind on this issue to automatically tune out not just what you're going to say with regards to immigration and what follows on the border, but with regards to other issues as well. So I wouldn't respond sort of equal and opposite in that way. These are moments where I might potentially yield and lead with, well, you're right. The Biden administration was slow to addressing the border situation. They did not make it a big, as big an issue as they should have, or jumped to pass laws or executive orders, surge resources to the border to fix that when they should have. They should have done more. People can say that. I think it should be communicated a little bit differently. Just if we're trying to convince or communicate to people or convince people to understand our side, understand our perspective, I think that should be taken into account. But I think Sam Seder will go on to explain as well. Anyway.
Anybody can look at that video. The things you were saying yesterday was a complete sack of lies or just misinformation.
Be honest with me.
Immigration year over year over year. Type in illegal immigration year over year.
The fact that you're saying the border wasn't wide open. How many deaths have happened? How many fentanyl deaths have happened per year while your freaking president Joe Biden was in office? How many? Hold on. How many Americans?
And first, it's like, that's the thing. It's like, this guy, man, knows so little about the cause and effect and reality of what's going on. That's part of like the misinformation chamber that happens, or you just sort of have like these echo chambers that bounce around. Like the fentanyl problem goes back further, beyond what's happening now with Trump, beyond Biden, Obama. It's a problem that has festered and grown over time. It has a lot to do with socioeconomic status and resources, sort of driving people, leading to addiction. It has a lot to do with medical practices, what's being pushed in medical practices, or regulated or not regulated and allowed in terms of these opioids or access to them availability. Sure, it has to do with the open illegal border crossings or illegal shipping lanes through the border, and it of course could potentially originate with drug cartels and those illegal activities happening in other countries like Mexico and further south as well. But the solutions that they're provided, they don't have a solution for it, right? They don't have a targeted solution to deal with regulating these substances, regulating all kinds of drugs, surging resources in the right place, making the right, interdisciplinary or diplomatic solutions with these countries. They don't present that solution. They just say, no, it's the brown people from down south, and we have to shut the border down. It's the illegals and this and that. So that's their, scapegoat, but they don't have an actual solution for it. So it's not going to get better under their, whatever they want to see happen. So it's ridiculous.
Died just from fentanyl, and you're saying the border wasn't wide open? We've had the most illegal entry in 4 years in the history of the country.
Dude.
This is why. Let me finish. And this is why your party sucks. This is why your party is at 29% approval.
20%.
Because you got 20. Thank you. Because all you guys do is talk shit and just go anti-Trump. You have no policies. You guys have no vision. You have no leaders. You're talking about oligarchs and you hate the oligarchs. Where do you think Bernie Sanders and AOC are going to get their money from? Their donors. Don't lie to yourself.
Don't lie to yourself. The thing he says right after "don't lie to yourself" is talking about how AOC and Bernie Sanders are going to get money from wealthy donors. Some of the only two politicians that literally don't take money from wealthy donors. I just can't with this guy, man. It's unbelievable.
Look, and like, brother, you're talking about yesterday we lied.
AOC and Bernie Sanders don't take money.
Hold on, ready for this?
People.
You're saying that we lied 2 days ago. You just lied, and you're going to look like a fool that the border wasn't wide open. Look at this chart. What does that chart say to you? So what is that? What did Trump, when Trump was in, he was trying to close it, but your party was fighting it. It's unbelievable how many illegals have come in the past 100 days.
But this is the part to just be very, just show the data. Illegal immigration, this is Wall Street Journal, is a bigger problem than ever.
Oh, no, that's
These
fake
five
news.
charts explain why. Go a little bit lower. That's under Biden.
Trump got shot trying to show these charts, literally.
This is October of 2023. Go to the next one.
A guy who was registered Republican.
Here's another one.
Hold on, wait. Can I address what his
let me just show the data, and then I want you to say what you want to say. Go a little bit lower with the data, Ron. No, because he said it's inaccurate. This is another one here showing
go
data.
back up. Go back up to the.
And then go to the last one, Rob. Go to the last one, Rob.
Go to the top one here.
I mean, this is the numbers you're talking about.
Charts.
So this is you can
start one by one. Go up.
Explain every one of them. Go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can see that this is what constitutes illegal immigration. These are, if it was an open border, you would not have these numbers. You would not have the numbers to know when Title 42 ends.
Yeah.
What he means by that is they're documenting the crossing. So these are encounters. It means they encountered somebody, so they couldn't possibly have gone unaccounted for. This is the logic he's trying to use.
More people are coming to the border and they're being put into a system. Period.
That's the best part about it.
And that's the
because
definition.
they were told to come. Sam, let me explain something. When your president says come to the country,
is he just going to yell all the time?
No, I'm not yelling. You just give me facts.
Can I turn down his microphone because
you can't? Yeah, just see which one he is. I think he's C3 or which one is it, Rob?
C3.
C3.
C3. Go ahead, lower that there.
And then the mic.
Right there. There you
volume,
go. Is that
lower.
good? Is that good?
C2.
Oh, C2. There you go.
Okay, go for it.
All right.
Go ahead.
Good.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So
you're still going to hear the truth, though. So go ahead.
no, I'm happy to.
Yeah.
Can't turn down the truth. Is
No,
what
you
you're saying.
can't.
Open border would mean that we have no records of people coming across the border. The law in this country has been that if you put your foot in this country, it's an international law, it's a U.S. law. If you put your foot in this country and you apply for asylum, you are due a process to do that. 98% of those people who are then what you guys would call catch and release come back for their hearings. We are woefully understaffed in terms of like immigration judges, and that process is definitely broken. I would love to see more money spent in the processing of these people so that we can establish which ones, like your family,
like my family as well, illegal immigrants.
No, but came in
Yep.
through a refugee status. They weren't citizens on day one. They came in, they went through a process, and it's possible at that time. I mean, I remember, I was old enough to remember the Iran hostage situation. I remember the fallout afterwards. There may have been some form of temporary protected status, whatever it was at the time, that allows people to come in. Then they're assessed and processed. It's determined that, yes, their claim for asylum is appropriate or not, et cetera, et cetera. That's what we're looking at there. As you scroll up on those other charts, you can see when Title 42 ends, which was only supposed to be an emergency situation that has to do with health, and you can't have it both ways. Either COVID ends or it doesn't end, the pandemic. And so people come in. There's no doubt, and that number on that chart that Musk had, under Biden, more people received temporary protected status. We had a problem in Haiti as the country is falling apart. You had people from Ukraine coming in because of obviously the invasion. These are all under temporary protected status. They all got Social Security numbers so they could pay taxes into our government and not necessarily get the services back.
Yes, and vote for Democrats.
No, they can't vote.
Right.
Those Social Security cards literally say on the card, say you can't use this for voting.
AOC said we don't have an illegal immigration problem. We have a documentation problem. That's what AOC said. So this is not something new. You know how when you talk about who's better at gerrymandering, who's better at gerrymandering, the left or the right?
Republicans seem to be better at that.
The Republicans are
I know,
much better
I agree.
at that.
Guess what? So it's not like they can fight it and say, no, we're not. That's their reputation. They have it. They're better at gerrymandering. Strategically, they're better at doing that. But for you to sit here...
I don't have a problem
May I make
like
my
you do
point?
with
Let me make my point.
Yeah.
When you sit here and you watch yourself, when you're saying these policies and you spew out these policies, what the average person does, they'll watch it, and if they've already outgrown it, because today the problem with, folks, content creators have today is the following. Say we say something on a video, and we're wrong. You know what others will do? They'll react to it, and they'll say stuff to it. And if we're right, they'll keep coming to us to want to hear more of it, because they'll say...
Not if they're already misinformed. Not if they're already misinformed, and you're just presenting them with more of the misinformation that they like. They're not going to correct you, and you're just going to capture that same audience that's going to say, yes, more, thank you, very, very good. So that's a totally bullshit point.
At least you sound reasonable. And they'll say, I want to hear what John has to say. I want to hear what Joe has to say. I want to hear what Megan has to say. I want to hear what, whoever these people are that are giving ideas out there want to say, right? But when you keep saying stuff that others are able to tear apart so many times, that a former liberal watches that maybe was a viewer of you and says, how can Sam not see this and outgrow it? he is still stuck on this policy that's been proven.
Yeah, but these people are missing the whole point. It's about fixing a broken immigration system. And like Sam said, we need more resources. We need more people on the ground to process this problem, and we need to stop destabilizing other countries in South America, as we've done for hundreds of years. That leads to pushing people out of their countries to then look for better opportunities in the United States. Like it's very misleading to present the conversation in the way that they are. And I just wish we could come to a middle ground of just talking about the actual issue. And look, what their point they're trying to make is, oh, the Democrats want all these brown people to come in because they know that Hispanics vote for them, 65% of the time. So it's a grand master plan of the Democrat. But it's like, okay, you're boxing these people into like brown people, like Hispanics or whatever. Like they're always going to vote for Democrats. But it's like, why do they vote for Democrats? Right? It's because, well, maybe stop being so, anti-immigrant or so, racist or coded in racism or cutting, food stamps and programs that are meant to help these kinds of people. You guys are openly anti them. You exclude them. You're racist against them, or in your policies you don't do enough to help them. So those people in those circumstances, those situations, vote for Democrats because they say, well, at least they did a little bit. So it's not that Republicans, they act like Republicans are completely helpless when it comes to getting the votes of these people. Maybe they just don't want the votes of these people, right? So it's a completely ridiculous point. Anyway, we're going to leave it there on that segment. This video is probably getting a little long anyway. Let me know what you guys think one way or another. Pretty heated debate there, at least for a moment there. And curious to know your thoughts. Drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.